today I'm gonna interview Alessandro Saponaro, one of the best friend of Marco Bellinelli, and especially the one who got from Bologna to his first team when he was picked in the NBA. Let's start with the first question. How were your feelings when you have traveled and you have been asked from Marco to come here into NBA and USA, especially in San Francisco?
I was honored. How did I feel? We always talk about that when it was playing good with the 42 and it was starting to have some interest from NBA, and we always joke about that. And then I was like, wow, I'm gonna go with you, and then that's it. I was super happy and honored.
How was the story?
The story was interesting. So the story was like simple. When it was playing for the 42, we always hung out together. And when he started to have like this attention, and he was very young and a little scary to travel by himself, leave his hometown. He never played outside Bologna. And of course, he was like, oh, one day if I'm gonna go to the NBA, you're gonna come with me. And then I was joking with him and said, okay, if you're gonna get to the NBA, I'm gonna come with you. And it wasn't easy to try to, for like a guy like me from Bologna with my job, like thinking something like that. But at the end, I say, let's go. And one day we were like during the weekend we were like together, I think, at the beach in Milano Marittima, and he was at the phone, and I think he was talking with his agent, and his agent was like, say, Marco, you're gonna get drafted, you're gonna be electable on the draft for the NBA. And then he came to me and said, Alessandro, now you need to keep your word. And because, I'm going to be in the list for the draft. And if I'm going to get selected in the United States, you got to come with me. So I was like, okay, perfect. So I was like normal. And then I called my family and I say, Marco, maybe he's going to go to play to the NBA. So I'm going to go with him. And of course, my mother, in Italy, like crazy. My mother was in shock, but at the end, it was a good experience, and all my family and parents were very happy about my choice.
Did you ever think to come in USA before Marco asked you?
Not really. I mean, before Marco, I went to the United States of New York a couple of times for my job, but I never thought before to move here and build my career here. For me, it just was like an experience with Marco, but then after a couple of years that I stayed with him, I got my own path and I moved to Miami, and now I work and live in Miami.
How was your first approach with NBA?
Very nice, thank you. The first approach was really fun. Um, we went together in Vegas for the summer league, so Marco asked to the team if he could bring me to stay with him for the first approach in the NBA, and say, okay, why not? So it was July, we got the plane and we went to Las Vegas. and we stayed in this big hotel, the Mandala Bay, that is a huge hotel, like a little city. For us, from San Giovanni Persicete, from Castelmaggiore, Bologna, was like something unbelievable. And we got the first meeting in one of the big ballroom that we spent like 20 minutes to try to find, like stairs, elevators. At the end, somebody like like pick up me and Marco from the team to go there. And actually, I didn't think that it was like, Marco was like with the Golden State Warriors. I mean, I knew the team, but I just show up at the first meeting. Marco was introduced me to all the team, and I got my New York Knicks shorts. So I saw people like look at me very weird, and like those people were like look at me like a Martian, like what the hell this guy is doing, like dressed like this. And for me, it was just a short that I found in my suitcase. So I didn't think like, okay, I'm gonna put like an NBA shorts. No, we just wake up, I get dressed, and I put like the first shorts that I have in my suitcase. And then I realized it was like a New York Knicks like shorts. So all the team manager, the coaches, some player, of course, there was not the team, the real team, but all the people and players that they've been invited at the summer league, they will start laughing at me, like laughing, like joking, and say, "Oh, you got lost. The New York Knicks are in the other hotel on the strip, so you need to go back." A lot of fun. And this guy Eric, that is still with the Golden State, is the only guy that is still with the Golden State Warriors right now. Is the team manager, so the guy that is in charge for the shoes, jersey, everything. He told me, after this meeting, you're gonna meet me at the room. I don't remember the number of the room. So he said, we're gonna meet there, and I'm gonna give you something. So I was very embarrassed. So with Marco, I was apologizing. I'm sorry, but Marco said, no, don't worry. So after that, we went together because, otherwise we could got lost to this room of this guy, and he gave me like a big suitcase, like a Golden State Warriors suitcase, full of equipment, like a player, like jersey, all the kind of dress that I needed to be with Marco. So from that day, I was like the mascot of the team, because I'm not a player at all, but I was always with them on the bus, on breakfast, because they understood that Marco could like appreciate the fact that he wasn't alone. So after that, I met Baron Davis at night, because he stopped by to say hi to the coach. He didn't play the summer league, but he was there with other teammates. And then they start to joke on me about that, and they gave me my nickname Sapp Dog, because I was like skinny and and my last name it's Saponaro, so it's Sapo for Italians, and Sapp in the United States.
Did you find different organization between the teams?
Yes, I did. Yes, the team are like different. They have like a different approach with the player and organization. It can change between one team and the other team. I've been lucky to stay with Marco the first 2 years in San Francisco, and and then I moved to Miami. But every time that Marco was traded, I was going with him the first months, the first 2 or 3 weeks, to help him out to settle down in the new city. So we've been together in Toronto, and then we went to New Orleans, then Chicago, and then we went to San Antonio, and then Sacramento, and now Charlotte. So I can tell, for me, San Antonio and Golden State was like the best organization. And also now Charlotte is really, really good. But I didn't spend too much time because it's just the beginning of the season. And I went there like a couple of times, once by myself to try to find the house, so I didn't see anyone. And the second time I spent with Marco like a little bit of time. But now I'm being super busy, so I cannot go there like every weekend like I did before. So I can't say that I, when I used to play for the Warriors, I was like a son for the organization. So when Marco was traveling, was my first year, so they helped me a lot. They gave me access to the gym. They gave me access to the facility. So when Marco was like traveling and I get my key fob as a player, like a player, and I was going to shoot by myself, watching all the game because at the beginning we didn't get the house right away. We wait like 1 month. So we were living in the hotel room for 1 month, so without the pay-per-view TV to watch all the games. So I was going to see the game in the Golden State Warriors gym that they have like a TV room, and they gave me access to everything. I watched. I've been present in all the events, all the practice. So I was part of the team. Everyone was like, they knew that I was there. So for me, it was like kind of crazy because, of course, I was watching every day and I was like with Marco every time. And then we went to Toronto. Toronto it was like so. They didn't give any access to go to see the practice, and it was like very, very cold organization. And also the New Orleans, I knew, Marco played 2 years. It was like very close to Miami, so I was going there every weekend, more or less, like at least 2 times a month for 3 or 4 days. So I met everyone, and it was like nice. And then when we went to Chicago, I went with Marco like 2 or 3 times, no, maybe more for Christmas, for the last year even, and we spent like time together. But it was like a very strict organization. The coach, Tom Thibodeau, was very straight in everything, that he didn't want any distraction to the players. So nobody could bring brother, friends, or whatever to the practice facility. So it was like, a little like distant. And then after that, we went to San Antonio. That they are like a family. They're like amazing, and that's why they are like the best team in NBA. Because when you play for San Antonio, you realize that to win like a ring and being like a champion, it starts from the organization. So it's not like just having like 3 or 4 big players. It's like from the beginning, when you got there, you are like family and you play as a family. That's why they play very well for the last 20 years. And then Sacramento was like, for me, was the worst. I mean, we were meeting at the game, and we were waiting for the pass as a family member to be like on the court or wait for Marco after the game. And the people in charge to give you this pass, they were coming like very late. I mean, Marco needs to be there 2 hours before the game, so we were going together with Marco. I was going with Marco when I was with him, and then I got to wait like 30 minutes outside of the area for the family, because the people in charge to give me that pass wasn't at the game. They were like late. And this was like very, very strange. And then Charlotte, that they are very smart, and I can tell that the owner is Michael Jordan, meaning a former player. So he knows exactly what a player needs. So, for example, I went there, we have like 4 tickets, I mean, family has like 4 tickets for every game. They gave Mark a family pass, like 5 family pass for all the friends. They know what is good for a player, having friend and family next to them, and to give them like the chance to be quiet and happy and play like well. That's it.
Thank you, Alessandro, for the interview.